As we head into the holiday weekend and finish up these fantasy football drafts to get ready for the regular season and start setting those lineups, we got to know about that waiver wire. We got to know who's glowing on the waiver wire, who's going to be a dandy that we're going to be picking up here next few days, weeks, maybe even months, who might have some potential, who might get some opportunity, who might be able to help our fantasy teams. And this all correlates with the news, the injuries, the changes in the offense, players busting, players doing well, players exceeding expectations. We're going to see all of that here in the next few weeks and months. A player who re-aggravated their injury today was Cooper Kupp, his hamstring. We caught the news just a little bit ago, which shines a spotlight on this wide receiver depth chart. And we're looking at Puka Nacua, 5th round pick from BYU, because he has some upside. And we want to look at the upside off the waiver wire because upside wins leagues when it hits. But before we dig into the stats today, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Give it a good tap with the finger on your phone. Click it with the mouse. Stop missing out on these players. I'm going to help you with the waiver wire. I'm going to help you with your draft. I'm going to help you win your league. We're going to bring it home this year. But let's go ahead. Let's dig in. Let's look at Puka Nacua real quick here so you can get an idea of what's sitting there on your waiver wire just in case he hits. And first things first, the tweet from Shefty. Sean McVay said Cooper Kupp suffered a setback and his hamstring and is now day to day. And the thing about day to day when coaches talk, sometimes that means week to week. Sometimes week to week means month to month. So since he said day to day, it could be day to day. He could be all right. But that could also mean week to week. So we need to monitor the situation. We need to watch the team. We need to watch Cooper Kupp. We need to watch the news. He might be in on the first game of the season. He might not. He might be out for a bit. We don't know. We don't know, but we're prospecting here. We're looking at the player, and we talked about these rookies all offseason long. I'm fresh to talk about Puka Nacua because I've been doing it for the last few months. So let's take a look at him. So going to player profiler, going to a snapshot here, 6'2", 210. So we got some size. So he fell in the draft though. He was injured throughout his collegiate career. The production wasn't super steady. The athleticism's not super intriguing, but really did well at the Senior Bowl. Really lit things up. Has good hands. Very nuanced player. Sticky at the catch points. A fun player to watch. And he's also doing well in training camp. We've seen some clips come out of him mossing some dudes, creating separation. Puka Nacua is a ball player, and if he gets opportunity to be on the field, he's going to show up and do some things. But with him being a 5th round pick, you just got to watch the tea leaves, see what happens with him. Going to the combine, 4.62 40-yard dash. Speed score 51st percentile. Burst score 26th percentile. When we look at this, 4.62, that's not a death knell. He's fast enough to get the job done. He's fast enough to compete. We have many wide receivers in the league that can compete at this speed score, at this 40 time. Not super worried. We know how he wins. He wins at the catch point. He wins with jump balls. He wins by out jumping, out physicaling at the catch point, boxing out DBs, creating separation. A smart player, a nuanced route runner, a guy who just gets it done, a lunch pail wide receiver. He's not a top tier guy in this class, but he's a good guy that you want on your team, a good guy to prospect on when you're looking at the waiver wire. And if he was one of the top guys, he'd be drafted in the middle rounds like a Jordan Addison. But we do have some cool things in his profile. 19.3 breakout age, 83rd percentile, 27.4% dominator rating, a 22.9% target share while at college as well, used heavily in the passing game. And looking at the numbers here while at college, also played at Washington and BYU, was productive last 2 seasons of his career, and really turned it on. He experienced injuries off and on throughout his career as well, really hampered his upside, really hampered what he can do. And if it weren't for that, he probably would have got drafted a little bit higher. But it is what it is. He showed off at the Senior Bowl. That's where he really made his money. Just balling out in practice day after day after day in every drill. Showing up in the game as well. Puka Nacua is a player you need to monitor here. Looking at the depth chart. This is why we're paying attention to Puka Nacua. Because outside of Cooper Kupp, Ben Stronek, Van Jefferson, Demarcus Robinson, Tutu Atwell, there's a chance for this 5th round pick to get some opportunity, and that's what we're looking for. We're looking at this wide receiver with some upside because he's got good ball skills. This is a very good wide receiver class. When a wide receiver falls in a good wide receiver class, really add some substance there. So Puka could really do some things here if Cooper's out for some time. So you need to pay attention to his status. You need to pay attention to the status. For all I know, I'm wasting my time doing this video. Cooper Kupp's going to be back week 1, which is all good because a lot of you guys draft them in the 1st round. But we need to know what's on the waiver wire. That's why we are here. And then just looking at the schedule here, week 1, we got Seattle. And that's going to be an important one. We also got the Niners. That might be a slow-paced game. We also got the Bengals, a fast-paced game. So if he's out for some time, look at the schedule. Look what's coming up. Look at the volume. And then also look at the volume of the passing offense from last year. Everything went to Kupp, even though he played in 9 games. And then after that, it was very sketchy. And with it being very sketchy, and then them getting Puka Nacua in the draft, that allows us to believe he could capture some opportunity. So pay attention to Cooper Kupp's status here over the long term, over these next few days, weeks, or whatever's going to happen with him. But he has no ADP. He's free. He's on the waiver wire. And honestly, I think he should stay there. I think he should stay there right now. No one should overreact. Nobody should run out and get him right now. Watch the snaps. Watch the targets. Monitor Kupp's status. Even if Cooper Kupp comes out with a new report saying he's more injured than what they said and he's out for a few weeks or something like that, keep him on waivers for a bit. See what the snap counts are like, the volume of the offense. It may not be worth it to you, and you may need to chase the running backs instead. That's what I would do. But you need to know about him just in case he exceeds expectations. That's why we're doing the video, because he does have some good ball skills. He does get downfield. He might have some pop-off weeks. And if that happens, you need to remember what we're talking about here. Talk about his potential, his upside. Not everybody hits their upside. That's the thing about it. And you need to just run and get him if that happens. You don't want to be too early because the odds of him tapping into his upside isn't super grandioso. But he is still a good ball player. That's why we're still talking about him. You need him because you want the unknown upside. You need him because he's a waiver wire dandy and he's a free square. But you don't need him right now. Let him sit on the waiver wire for a bit. Let him cook. Let's see what happens. You also don't need him if you hate late-round rookies. You hate them late-round rookie wide receivers too. Because late-round rookie wide receivers, the odds of them hitting aren't that good. We do not have many of them hit. So that's something you may want to stay away from. Also, the offense might just slow down a ton. They may just run clock between plays, make sure things are set between plays, and really hamper the amount of plays ran in the offense because they're down their guy. And that might happen too. That may impact the fantasy production of everybody in this offense if Kupp's out. It's one thing to look at. But we got a mystery box wide receiver that we may want to tap into. He's going to be on the waiver wire. Looking back at us, we need to monitor his snaps. We need to monitor his targets, his air yards while he's on the field, especially if Kupp's out. We need to monitor Kupp's status to make sure that he's on the field. And if he's not, then we really need to watch how the targets are being distributed in this offense because things could change in a heartbeat. And you need to pay attention to this team to see how things turn and burn. I recommend just let him sit on waivers. I'm sure people are already saying that in the comments below. I'm sure Rams fans, BYU fans, fans of Puka Nacua are talking about how good he is in the comments as well. He is a good ball player, but let him sit for now, see what happens, and then we'll move from there because in regular redraft leagues is not super deep. Dynasty, different question there. Should be already rostered, should be on a taxi squad, should be sitting there waiting to go. The manager on that team's looking to see what happens. I don't think the prices went up high enough for you to really wheel and deal him, but always kick the tires if you think there's a price change and see what happens, see what goes your way. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear about that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out, and I'll catch you in the next video.